think about the magnitude of foreigners being brought in all over the West to be the police, to be the social workers, to be the bureaucrats, to be the enforcers. This is a premeditated program and plan. The government seizes children, chews them up, spits them out. The average, more than 2/3 of children in the U.S. are on psychotropic drugs that are in government care. They grab you when you cry. They say you're mentally ill because you're 5 years old and want your mommy. The neighbor saw you yell at your child. They called the CPS, or you were homeschooling, and the neighbor thinks that's illegal. And they show up and take your kids, and they disappear. They kill them. They rape them. And then you talk to the social workers. You see them on the news. They're laughing. It's funny. You know, you say, you guys are abusing children. Oh, no, we're not. People who know social workers say they're proud of what they're doing. And it is a scourge. It is a plague. Hitler did it. The communists did it. Pol Pot did it. And, authoritarian orphanages are famous. This is the system waging war on humanity. Now, I've covered all of Obama's announcements in his budget to jack up taxes and break all his promises and get rid of insurance exemptions and home exemptions and tax people making $200,000 combined incomes. So that's people making $100,000 basically a piece. Just George Soros's Media Matters says Obama never said he wasn't going to tax people making $200,000. Just complete lying, because George Soros wants your money paid to him through the central banks. We've got South Australia government gags internet debate. That's news.com.au. I want to get into, also in my stack, I've got some Monsanto news, some of the new products they're rolling out, like Smart Stack, that has 8 genetically engineered traits, 6 of them live pesticides that the plant grows internally to kill bugs that eat it. But then you're going to eat that. I mean, this is madness. This is just pure lunacy. And you've got dumbed down, heartless, brutish, stupid enforcers who love it. They love the power. You talk about the average bureaucrat or enforcer, they're dumber than a box of rocks. They don't care if they're drinking fluoride water. They don't care if they're eating GMO food, rotting their liver. They think it's funny, because all they know is they got a machine gun, and they're going to get your guns, and they're going to have their way with you. That's what happens in 99% of societies, and it's happening here through scientific design. We're going to open the phones up for 20 minutes in the next hour, and then I'm going to cover news for the rest, and I have some audio clips I want to play. We had a caller yesterday, Funkmaster5 on YouTube, and he sent us a link to some of the phone calls he's been making to talk radio. And I wanted to play a clip of Hannity, a clip of Savage, a clip of Beck, and then a clip of one other guy, Dennis Miller, to illustrate the different disinfo styles. And Savage, again, didn't put out disinfo. He said, yeah, Bohemian Grove's real. Bunch of disgusting old fat Republicans running around having sex with each other. I can't imagine anything more horrifying. Savage is the only one, when Funkmaster5 called in, who actually was honest. Again, I'm not on some Savage worshiping binge here. It's just that he is just getting better and better and better and better and better. Saying Obama's going to stage terror attacks. Obama staged the underwear bombing. Yeah, there's a bunch of fat Republicans wallowing around having sex. He lives in San Francisco. He should know. I mean, the point is I've got to play this clip coming up because it's just too good. And the others, I mean, you'll see reality illustrated next to Beck and others. You'll see the difference. So we're going to analyze and kind of like a wine tasting, a cess tasting event here, where we sample some of the different dishes on the buffet table here for everyone. So that's coming up as well. Stay with us. Well, it's already hour number 4. Thank you for joining us. I want to run through a smattering of phone calls, then I'm going to get into the latest on Monsanto, internet censorship, and I want to play 4 different radio clips to show different styles of disinformation by mainstream fake neocons. That's coming up. Right now, let's go to your calls. Chris Chris in Texas, you're on the air.
Alex, thanks for taking my call. Great to be on with you. I had a question. I've been going through, I'm reading Ron Paul's and the Fed book, blowing me away, and I wanted to ask you, first of all, if you'd heard anything about how the audit the Fed movement's going, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think the likelihood is that we could possibly end the Fed someday, and how would that impact the globalist agenda?
Well, if we actually got Congress over the money and educated the public about it and ended fractional reserve banking, we would go back to, on average, 10% growth rates that we had from 1786 until 1913, roughly, instead of the new parasite economy that we live under. The problem is they're financial terrorists. They will incrementally wreck the economy to consolidate it. That's their goal, to end industrialized civilization, get a manageable group of humans they can control of no more than 500 million. And that's stated by the NASA scientists, by the UN people. I mean, I had Mark Moreno, Climate Depot, on yesterday quoting the book by the head NASA climate scientist, open population reduction. And so they're going to engage in terrorism. But if you identify that they're the financial terrorist, then they won't be able to get away with it. So it's a process. We don't have a choice. But does that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much. I appreciate you taking my call. I know you got other people. Thanks, Alex.
God bless you, Chris. Appreciate the call. How is the other part of your question, how's the End the Fed movement going? It passed the House. It's in the Senate. They were unable to water it down. The Senate's getting more and more co-sponsors all the time. And as heat gets put on the bankers, it's only a matter of time till it passes. If it doesn't pass in this Congress, they'll reintroduce it in the House again, and it'll probably pass the next time. But we're identifying the real government. And we've gone from maybe 10% knowing the Federal Reserve's private, run for profit and predatory, to now over 90% in major polls. It was 75% a year ago. So the awakening has happened. Now we've just got to clean these people out. Let's go ahead and talk to Eddie in Florida. Eddie, you're on the air.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for opening my eyes. I've been listening to you for a while. Somebody woke me up about 2 years ago.
Welcome.
By the way, I thought he was crazy, and it set me out on this quest for knowledge. I just wanted to make a couple of points. I hear on your program a lot of other places people saying, why in light of all of us knowing what they're doing, why do they keep pushing forward? I think it's pretty obvious. They orchestrated this economic collapse, but they cannot control every aspect of the economy. So I think what's happening is, with the cap and trade and everything else they're doing to enslave us, I think they're going for broke while everyone's asleep. Because if the dollar collapses and everything else that's going to happens before they get all these things through, I don't think it's going to work. It's going to be too late.
That's it. That's it. They're in a race to get their Northcom, Homeland Security, and carbon tax grid in to make sure we are so destitute and just trying to pay our bills that we can't stand up against them.
And they know the U.S. giant, the people, once we wake up, that's it. Game's over. I mean, they listen, when Jackson pushed out the central bank originally, they still controlled the press then like they do now, and they made his life miserable. And that's why I think they're so arrogant about it. I read the book from Jekyll Island, and something jumped out of me out of that big book. I mean, the Rothschild formula was right there. It says the sanctity of its laws, the prosperity of its citizens, and the sovereignty of its treasuries will be quickly sacrificed by any government in its primal act of self-survival. I think that pretty much just spells it out.
Absolutely. Thomas Jefferson, to paraphrase him, said, if you allow private banks to control the issuance of currency and credit, our children will wake up homeless on the continent we conquered. He also said that if you took all the power away from the bankers and gave them the power to issue currency and credit, with a stroke of a pen, they would buy back the entire world through fraud. It's a bunch of Madoff, Ken Lay types doing whatever they want to us, and that arrogance is a front, a aura of infallibility, of invincibility. They are not invincible. They are pot-bellied, degenerate scum.